Welcome to the video series of Chess with the Chess course. In this lesson, we shall have a look at discovered attack. Discovered attack arises when on moving a piece out of the way, an attack by another piece in waiting is discovered. The piece in waiting will be either rook, bishop or a queen. This allows basically the side to gain an advantage in terms of material or checkmate threat. Let us have a look at few guiding examples in this tactic. We shall start with a simple trap laid by white in the French defense opening. White starts with e4, black replies e6, d4, d5. White here now moves his pawn to e5, basically the advanced variation of the French defense. Black plays c5, c3, knight to c3, knight to c6, knight to f3, queen to b6. So what is black doing? He is going on putting pressure on the central d4 pawn. The move queen b6 also has a purpose, as it for the timing stops bishop from developing, otherwise the b2 pawn falls. And now here if we calculate, we find that black has 3 attacks on this d4 pawn. He is attacking with his pawn on c5, knight on c6 and queen on b6. And let us have a look at defenders for white. White is defending this with pawn on c3, knight on f3 and queen on d1. So it means that there are 3 attackers for black and 3 for white. So the attack will not be successful on that square for black. But now here all of a sudden white lays a trap. He reduces one of his defender purposefully by moving his bishop to d3. This basically shuts out the queen, which is now no longer defending the pawn on d4. And now here, black calculated, white has made a mistake. Now there are only 2 defenders, whereas he has got 3 attackers. And he thought that is winning a pawn. So he went ahead with c captures d4, white replied c captures d4. Now black continued knight captures d4, white captured knight captures d4, and black brought equality with queen into d4. In fact, he is now a pawn up. But now what do we see in this position? That stage is set for discovered attack. We can see 3 pieces in the line. The queen of white on d1, bishop on d3 and the unprotected queen of black on d4. White now needs to move his bishop out of the way, which is the best square. Well, it is easy to guess. White moves his bishop to b5. It's a check to the king. And now we also see an attack on the unprotected queen on d4. After black gets out of check, say bishop into d7, bishop d7. First white will play bishop captures d7, check, king into d7, and then he will win the queen. You see, I was scanning the database and I found that a good number of games had beginners falling in this trap. So you have to be very careful when some material is offered. Do check it thoroughly, calculate it properly, and find out, whether some hidden traps are there. We move ahead with the next example of discovered attack. And here it is black who has just moved his queen to d3. And what do we find? The queen is unprotected. This position is from the game between Bronstein, Geller. And Bronstein had now a good position. He finds that black queen is unprotected. And if he can move knight with a tempo gaining move, then he will be in a position to capture the queen of black. And that's why there comes an idea, rook captures e7, Beautiful move. This forces king into e7. Let us have a look at example like what if he moves his king to f8. Well, in that case, here white can continue, rook captures f7, and if at all now black plays king into f7, there comes nd5, and we see a knight fork here. So for rook into e7, black has only one move, king into e7. And now there comes knight captures d5, check, and at the same time we see a discovered attack on the unprotected queen of black. After knight captures d5, queen captures d3. Black, like, tried in vain, continued for this, he played f6, but after bd2 there was nothing left much. Few more moves, he continued the fight and then resigned. We now move ahead. This position is from the game between Trufinovic and Indian legend Manuel Aaron, 9-time national champion. Is a big legend. He has won the national championship of India, a record 9-time, first international master from India, and a very well-known, respected figure. I have immense respect for him, and a wonderful gentleman also. So here he was like playing against a very strong grandmaster Trufinovic. Aaron was black, and what had happened, he had just moved his rook to b6. This is an error. What we now find is that there is tremendous pressure on the d8 square. It's attacked twice and only defended once by the queen on f8. Now we only find that, like, black king is on dark color, not on light color. Otherwise this bishop could, come with a check, but that is not possible. But here we see queen on f5 also on light color and aiming at h7. So here white brought about a discovered attack with a fantastic bishop g8, threatening checkmate in 1 on the h7 square. At the same time, he also creates a discovered attack on the rook on d8, which has insufficient protection. So to avoid mate threat, black will be required to play queen into g8. Now comes rook into d8, bringing queen under pin. So here now black will be required to play bishop to f6, and now, like, white can win in a variety of way. The simple, moving rook to d7, it's a very good idea. Again creating checkmate threat, white will go ahead with rook captures f8 on the next move, and after queen captures f8, it will be queen h7 check and mate. So like, international master Manuel Aaron immediately resigned on bishop g8. So like, you have to be very careful of not to keep pieces unprotected, or to ensure that, like, it has got sufficient protection. A similar error was witnessed in the game Pons Osmolowski versus Ragozin. It's white to play, and what do we find? That three pieces are on the same line. This is what we call the pattern recognition purpose for discovered attack. Three pieces in the same line, two of the superior side and one of the defending side, and the in between piece moves away with some capture or with some threat, leading to an attack from the piece in waiting. So this is here, like, black at queen a5 was not expecting the knight to move, because then he thought he can exchange queen. But look at the position of black king on g8. It is not safe. The bishop on h6 is guarding, like, it's covering the f8 and g7 square. So basically it does not have a flight square. So here the idea of discovered attack came with a super nd5, and now we see an attack on the unprotected queen on a5. At the same time, we now see knight e7 threatening checkmate in 1. Black resigned instantly because checkmate can be saved only by giving up the queen. We shall now examine a position from the game between Kunzi and Jansa, wherein white brings about 3 pieces in the same line with a tempo gaining move. The queen of black on b4 does not have a protection, and white would like to take a position here. But he should do this without any loss of time, otherwise black will regroup. So there comes beautiful sacrifice. Rook captures e7 check. Material imbalance is there, so black is required to capture this. And now comes queen e4 check, and queen taking up her position in line of the counterpart on b4. After king moves to d8, there comes knight c6 check, as well attack on the unprotected queen from the queen on e4. The knight also is creating a knight fork, so it is force for black to play. Bishop captures c6, queen captures b4, bishop to b5, but queen captures d6, and black is going to lose further material and he resigned. So this is how we see that discovered attack can be brought out. Let us also examine one more variation after queen e4 check, when queen had taken up in the line of the black queen with a tempo gaining move. And here in the text position we had seen black playing king to d8. What if he had gone to f8? Well, the result is same. Here then the knight would move with any 6 check. Doesn't mind offering the knight because he is getting queen. I hope you are able to understand this illustration. We are familiar with the term double discovered check. My next session will be on that. But let us also have a look at one more term, double discovered attack, a rare example. This position is from the game between Jones Dubel, played at Nice Olympiad, here with black to play. Now we see that knight of black has made inroads into the white camp. He also has rook on e8 in a commanding position. Knight is threatening on f2. Of course, white has his rook on f1 to guard against the threat of knight 4. But this allows black to create great threats. We also see queen in line of the white rook on f1. The rook on f1 is defended by the queen on d1. So that brings about the idea of closing the line. Rook e1, really a fantastic move. Threatens queen, threatens rook. And now let us examine the possibility. In the game, white went ahead with bishop captures e1, but it is not good for white to play rook captures e1 for the simple reason we had seen that it will allow knight f2 check, and after king moves out of f2, white will lose his queen. So that is for the simple reason he decided to give up the queen. He played bishop captures e1, and now stage is set for discovered attack. We see now rook is unprotected. Previously it had the protection of queen on d1, and now comes discovered attack, in fact double discovered attack. So what do we see? The rook is attacked, at the same time now the queen is attacked. So there is a mate threat. That's why white decided to give up the queen. He played bishop c3, but after knight into d1, rook into d1, and white thought, okay, he has got some compensation for the queen, but like this move, queen e2 cleans up everything and white resigned. I hope you have been able to understand all the 6 variations I have showed. Now is the time to solve the test positions in the order that you will start with part 1 of the test series on discovered attack. It has got 6 problems. This will be followed by part 2 and part 3, which you can come back at a later stage. If you have just started and are new, then just don't miss this order, solve part 1 and then come back to part 2 and part 3 at a later stage when you are able to see more on the chessboard. So I'll take your leave for now and we'll be back with the test positions on discovered attack. Thank you.